Hollywood has done their absolute best to bank off of nostalgia because they know that people will always run back to franchises they love. I'm guilty of it, you're probably guilty of it, and we've seen some genuinely good revivals of franchises happen, but then there's been situations just like this one that completely kill franchises and kill things that we once loved. Now, there's been a leaked script floating around the internet for a couple of days now for the Powerpuff Girls live-action remake series, and it sounded so incredibly ridiculous that none of us believed that it was real. They made fun of Wonder Woman, they joked about the Powerpuff Girls making adult films, they make tons of adult jokes that aren't even that funny. I mean, I could not believe that this was real, and I really don't think anyone else did either. And now it is all but confirmed that it is real. It is happening, that Hollywood really was gonna try to release this show thinking that people would hop on board the hype train to watch it. I cannot believe this is the title of an article that I have to read. Alleged script leak from the CW's The Powerpuff Girls depicts them as sex-obsessed adults. Never did I ever think that this would be what we were getting out of the Powerpuff Girls live-action series. But it says it seems that the skepticism from fans regarding the CW's live-action Powerpuff Girls series may very well have been justified, as an alleged script leak from the production's pilot episode has uncovered a story filled with a number of shockingly bad story ideas, including the heroines growing up to become sex-obsessed adults and the professor being depicted as a stereotypically abusive celebrity dad. We thought that maybe, just maybe, this could go well. Maybe this wouldn't turn out to be terrible and awful. Unfortunately, though, if you have a lot of nostalgia for the Powerpuff Girls, you're probably not going to be interested in this at all whatsoever. Now, the CW has not come forward and said this is confirmed, it is a real legitimate script, but they are actually striking down people who are talking about it, sharing the screenshots on social media, so who knows if this video will even stay up. It says Powerpuff will follow the tired deconstruction model seen in so much recent superhero media, beginning with the heroic trio finding themselves outlawed by Townsville for accidentally killing a madman. Right off the bat, fans of the original series are sure to be disappointed as the pilot reveals that the first Powerpuff Girls cartoon was nothing more than an in-universe cash-in by the professor on their identities, with an adult Bubbles even complaining at one point that the cartoon had totally whitewashed the girls. Yes, it does actually reference the original cartoon, and it makes fun of it, saying that, oh my gosh, they totally and completely whitewashed the characters. So, of course, because Hollywood loves to revive franchises just to kill anything good about them, it talks about how the professor was constantly exploiting his daughter's celebrity status for money, and of course, he is also seen being emotionally abusive towards the mayor's former assistant, whom he dated for a period of years before the aforementioned abuse took its toll on their relationship. They literally just crap and ruin anything that you probably have nostalgia for in this series. The characters, oh no, they were whitewashed. Oh, one of them is abusive. One of them exploits his daughters. I mean, seriously. It also says that it is also revealed that Mojo Jojo was not a monkey, but in fact, the professor's former lab partner, who eventually grew to resent the Powerpuff Girls, since he'd helped Drake discover Chemical X, its mutagen substance, that gave the girls their powers. This doesn't necessarily sound awful or terrible. Maybe having this backstory added to this could have been good, but it says he was ultimately killed prior to the pilot by Blossom, an action which plays heavily into her decision to leave the hero's life behind. So they automatically are not walking into this with one of the characters that everyone remembers. It says, in his stead, the role of series antagonist falls to the evil scientist's son, a young man in his early 20s who currently serves as the mayor of Townsville. Now, I wanted to head on over to Twitter to show you all the images that are being circulated, and keep in mind this is basically confirmed to be real at this point. They are striking down some of the images that have leaked online, but unfortunately for the CW, it's kind of blown up now. The CW boss announced that they're rewriting the pilot episode script because it just didn't work with the rest of the series. But I mean, if this is gonna be the writing the show's gonna have, changing simply the pilot isn't gonna make it much better. But it says, after 2 stints in rehab and 3 failed reality show pilots, she had pivoted to direct sales. Bubble announces herself, "I'm Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, the real Bubbles." Unlike that Bobo knockoff Wonder Woman, they literally decided to trash Wonder Woman in this. Why did they think that any of this was gonna work? They talk about a storyline for Bubbles' documentary saying Bubbles is back, and Buttercup decides to meme on her, saying not to be confused with your other film, Bubbles on her back. Who did they think was going to find this funny? Oh my god, Bubbles on her back. That is the best that they could do. It also says, "I'm here to pick up bi-curious townies. You're here to avoid Drake. Bubbles is here to investigate. Luckily, we're dealing with another hate boner, so alcohol helps. Why do you know so much about hate boners? Life is one big hate boner." I mean, this is the dialogue they're going with. This is absolute, total, and complete garbage. It says, "I always believed in you and defended you, Dad. Even when you sold away our likeness to that cartoon, which, by the way, totally whitewashed us. And even then, I had your back. I always had a smile on my face." Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I personally didn't think that the Powerpuff Girls would work in a live action form just because we're talking about a show that had such over-the-top, you know, storylines and characters, like you had Mojo Jojo running around. But this is even worse than any of us could imagine. I mean, it's all just gibberish. It's like they slammed as many keywords into this as possible. Oh, we got whitewashed, you know, hate boners. We're talking about Bubbles on her back. Ah ha ha, so funny, sex jokes. I mean, seriously, who did they think was going to watch this and like it? I never use this word, but this is literally the definition of cringe. I don't know who their target audience for this is, but it's not going to appeal to the people who have nostalgia for this series, that's for sure. When you're memeing on a younger audience, you're doing it to appeal usually to an older audience, and if that older generation isn't even the audience that's watching your series, you're literally appealing to no one, and that's what's gonna happen here. Gen Xers are not gonna find this funny, they're not gonna watch the Powerpuff Girls. Some millennials might find it entertaining, but it craps on millennials too, and the younger generations. I mean, this is so bad. And of course, there are so many people who are upset with this, who are like, what the fuck is this? Who is supposed to be watching this? Here's a tweet that I found. Someone said, "I genuinely thought the Powerpuff Girls script was fake. It reminded me of those I forced a robot to watch 1,000 hours of Powerpuff Girls and cringe, and this is what I came up with posts. But then they copyright striked it. It was real, and the script is terrible." Now, people are memeing on this as well. Someone said CW on their way to confirm everyone's fears, and it's so incredibly true. This show could have had really bad CGI. We all thought it wasn't going to be the best, but they could have had a decent script. They could have had decent interactions between the characters, but no, it doesn't look like that's the direction they're going in. Scrolling down, it says, "If you really wanted to know if God is dead or not, now you know the answer." Everyone is just laughing at this. It is so terrible. Someone said, "I'm genuinely enraged to think my favorite channel as a kid would even allow people who write this stuff to even have a show at all, let alone ruin one of their classics, a soulless husk of what it once was." Maybe in the end they will rewrite the whole series and it will turn out to be genuinely good, but honestly, I doubt it. This is the idea that they had for this series. This is terrible. It is awful. It is probably one of the worst scripts we've seen for a show in a very long time. I mean, there are some really bad shows out there like Batwoman. Let's take that into consideration. Another CW show. But this is just another level of awful. But let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. But I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.